Quarterback and tight end rankings, Week 12, presented by UrbanandM.com. Expect more videos later every week for the other unit groupings like wide receiver, running back, defensive rankings, waivers, and more in the playlist in the top right. Between industry-leading data, Vegas sportsbooks, and expert analysis, we provide optimal, data-driven weekly rankings before setting your redraft lineups. It's quarterback tiers. They're first, and the first, 15 you feel pretty good about. The rest, well, you'll see. S tier is 250 yards or more, 22 fantasy points along with 2 touchdowns or more, rushing yards to boost. Drake, Maye, 281 over-under, 284 yards per game, 2 touchdowns per game. He gets Cincinnati, who's starting hurt Flacco and has no defense. Patrick Mahomes, Levon II, 296 over-under, 291 yards per game, 2.2 tutties per game, in one of the highest scoring games against one of the highest scoring offenses. Colts. It's going to be a banger. Lamar Jackson, 242 over-under, 238 yards per game, 2.2 tutties per game, and he's got a layup against the Jets, who are in dire straits. Matthew Stafford, 257 over-under, 256 yards per game, 2.7 tutties per game. He throws 2.7 tutties per game. He's an absolute animal, and he's in a high-scoring game with Tampa. Gonna be a banger. Jalen Hurts, 235 over-under, 226 yards per game, 2.2 touchdowns per game. Most of the time, one of them is, taking himself, and, it hurts to have Jalen Hurts. It really does. But you're screwed. You have to play them. They score the most through the air or with their own legs. This is the top 5 quarterbacks for Week 12. A tier is for the rest of the elite quarterbacks. There's 5 more, and all 5 toss 2 touchdowns or more and throw for 250 yards. They're elite pocket passers, and pretty much that's all that's in A tier, as fate would have it this week. And it's Brock Purdy. Vegas says it's going to be a sizable and swift victory at home against the visiting Cats, and I agree. Purdy looks 100% back. 255 over-under, 262 yards per game, 2.3 passing touchdowns per game. Jared Goff, 252 over-under, 249 yards per game, 2.1 touchdowns, and he's about to torch the Giants, 30-20, easy. Dak Prescott, 250 over-under, 270 yards per game, 2.2 tutties per game, and the only reason he's not higher is because Philly, it's going to be a banger for the Cowboys at home. 23-26 by sportsbooks, but Dallas is number 2 for scoring offense through 12 weeks. All right, now these are tough spots for these two against the Jags, 12th best, Chiefs, 4th best defense, but the game total says it's a recipe for high scores. All right, nearly 50 points set for these 2 games, even though both of these guys should be playing from behind. That's the top 10. All right, you got to keep it going. All right, 253 over-under, 314 yards per game for Brissett over 5 games and 2.2 tutties per game. 2 touchdowns for Daniel Jones, 258 over-under, so he's piped down a little bit because typically it's 280 yards per game for Daniel Jones. These should be good games. That's the top 10. Let's keep it rolling. At 11, UrbanandM.com. UrbanandM.com is my company my best friend and I started in 2020. We literally make everything ourselves by hand. We have earrings, rings, necklaces, bracelets, tie clips, apparel, and more. Over a dozen curated gemstones and 100 handcrafted products. If you need a gift or something special for yourself, use the promo code in the description. Find something you love, buy it today. Back to the video. If you like to look good and spend money, then shop at my store, www.urbanandm.com. But if you don't, because you hate to look good, you hate spending money, you hate cool stuff, you hate yourself, you hate me, you can just subscribe for free. All right, B tier, it's 250 to 240 yards, and we're under 2 touchdowns. All right, we're between 1.5 and 2. And, it's a great matchup, Caleb. And for Darnold, the Steelers' secondary, they can't stop a pass. And they're certainly going to have a poor offense as well, so he could be nearly as unopposed as Mr. Darnold here should be. 243 over-under for Williams, 260 yards per game, 1.7 touchdowns. Same 1.7 touchdowns for Darnold, 254 yards per game, almost identical, 240 over-under. They're both playing well, and they should have sizable victories without much disruption, all right? And this is the turn. These 3 have terrible matchups. Baker, Love, and hurt Flacco, all All right, Baker, 255, 257 yards per game, 1.8 touchdowns, but it's at the Rams' second best defense. Okay. Jordan Love, 238 over under, 256 yards per game, 1.5 touchdowns. He gets Brian Flores defense. That's never good, ever. Joe Flacco, they wanted Burrow to play. Flacco is hurt. He's old. He's hurt. He's old. I mean, it's looking like 1.5 touchdowns against these tough defenses and earnest 240 passing yards, to be honest, at best. And it could be a crumbling 15 fantasy points. You know, they could catch a wind. Maybe it could be 20, but it's probably going to be latter. C tier is 220 yards, maybe 16 fantasy points, and really you're playing with fire. You're taking risks. 220 yards is not enough. It's not enough. Anything could happen in these games. We're on the other side of the ball now of the good matchups. You can throw a dart with these three if you're feeling sassy, okay? But do it in this order. Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Tyler Shuck? Is it Shuck? I don't know. 233 over under, 233 yards per game, 1.6 tutties. It's at the Cardinals, who allow the 8th most points per game. So, stay humble. Hope he hits those projections. Bryce Young, 205, 196 yards per game, 1.5 touchdowns through 10 weeks. But, he did throw 328 yards in week 2 and 448 in week 11. 3 passing touchdowns in each of those games. Is he going to do it again against the league average 49ers defense? Maybe, but probably not. Probably going to be another huge, crumbling, embarrassing failure. Big loss, most likely. Tyler Shuff, you want to be optimistic too here, right? The Falcons defense, they're struggling, right? They haven't been able to stop anything. It's 205 over under. And in his first game, it was 140 yards, 178 yards. 282 passing in his last 2 games and 2 touchdowns. He could pop off. You want to do like that? I don't blame you at all. You could even put him ahead of touchdown Jesus here. And I get it. Okay? I get it. It is a gross divisional game, but you're cooked. You're cooked. And so is Aaron Rodgers. And so is Jameis Winston. All right? 220 over under, but his wrist is broken. Okay? And they won't say if he's going to play, but he's probably not playing. All right? And Jameis Winston, 225 over under. They're fixing to get cooked by 15 points in a massive, massive L against Detroit. That is your top 20. Okay? And you're just praying now. And we know that the season is coming to a close because all the freaks are coming out, dude. Look at all these ridiculous headshots that we're starting to get from all these alts, dude. Ugh. It's going to be gross. Kirk Cousins, 203 over under, 173 yards in his best of 3 games. 0 touchdowns, okay, for Coco Chains. Tyrod Taylor, 213 over under, but 191 yards in his last 2 and 1 touchdown in each of those games. It's not great. Not great at all. J.J. McCarthy, 203 over under, 190 yards per game, 1.6 touchdowns. Just take your pick. Take your pick. Pick your poison. The rest, it's literally over, okay? Geno, Shador Sanders, Mason Rudolph, Cam Ward. Screenshots at the end. Let's do the tight ends, okay? We have to get happy again. It's the tight ends. But honestly, there's only 10 that you're probably happy about. Maybe 14, but probably about 10. So it's kind of not good. All right, S tier is 60 yards or more. And honestly, these 5, they're not even playing the same game as the rest. All right, it's Trey McBride, 77 over under. Over 100 yards in his last 2 games, 10 targets, and a score or more in each of his last 5 games. It's historic. He's literally historic tight end season. He's an animal. George Kittle, also an animal. 56 over under, but 84 yards, 67 yards in his last 2 fully healthy games. 7.5 targets, 1.66 touchdowns per game as well. And do you think it's going to stop against Carolina? Definitely not. Him and CMC are going to absolutely decimate the Panthers. Brock Bowers, 60 over under, 65 yards per game, 8 targets. Scores 40% of the time. He's the whole offense. Travis Kelce, 53 over under, 63 yards per game, 7 targets. Exactly the same as Tyler Warren. 52 over under, 63 yards per game, 7 targets, 0.4 touchdowns per game. They're identical. He just has a slightly better tight end matchup against the Colts, whereas he's on the other side of the ball against the Chiefs defense, who are a little bit tougher. But it doesn't matter because that's the top 5 for week 12. And A tiers for the rest of the elite tight ends for week 12. And this will take us to 10. 40 to 50 yards and a touchdown if you're lucky, but it's really good matchups for the most part. Dallas, Goedert, 34 over under, 40 yards per game, 6 targets. Listen, it's 0.8 touchdowns per game. It's a high-scoring game, high-scoring offense, high octane, and Dallas can't defend anything. They allow 78% of tight ends to get home. So, Dallas, Goedert, king of getting home. So if you can't do it here, it's over. It's over. Drop all your Eagles players and just give up. Hunter Henry, 40 over under, 38 yards per game, 5 targets, 0.4 touchdowns. Also in a great matchup against Cincinnati. Can't defend anything. They allow 70% of tight ends as well. All right, so these guys are in great spots. Juwan Johnson, also in a great spot. You know, Atlanta's not been tough the past 3 weeks. They've allowed all 3 of the tight ends that they've faced to get 50 yards or more. One of them almost 100. You know, I'm not saying Juwan Johnson's going to do that, but 50 yards per game is literally what he's been averaging, and it should continue. 6 targets. You know, if he scored, he would be at least at the top of 8 here. Maybe flirting with these big boys. Colston Loveland, Theo Johnson, 26 over under, 37 yards per game. Honestly insulting. 118 yards, 55 yards, 40 yards over his last 3 games. At least 4 targets or more. And he scored 2 times in week 9. This week it's the Steelers who allow 90% of tight ends to hit their overs. They literally just can't stop them. So he has a lot of potential to go nuclear. Theo Johnson, 36 over under, 32 yards per game, 5 targets. It's a coin flip touchdown. All right, the Lions allow 60% of tight ends to go over. The odds are ever so slightly in your favor. And if you're thinking, man, that's okay, but it's not great. I don't feel great. Well, you're not going to, because it's only worse from here. There's a lot of potential for these two, but it's B tier, 30 to 40 yards. And Kyle Pitts, he's going to get there with yards, but he doesn't score. Jake Ferguson, he used to get there with everything, but George Pickens exists. And now, why throw to him? 33 yards per game, all right? And the Eagles' defense have held tight ends to 40 yards or less since week 2. So, not a lot of opportunity there. Mark Andrews, 36 over under, 28 yards per game, 4 targets. I mean, let's be honest. You're just hoping for the 0.6 touchdowns. And he might get it against the Jets, who allow 80% of tight ends to put in work. Same thing for Cade Otton. He doesn't score ever, though. But against the Rams, who allow 80% of tight ends to, catch their balls and do work, he might just be able to do it, just like the Jets with Mark Andrews. So there's a chance. Not as good as Mark Andrews, not as good as Jake Ferguson. Probably better than Pitts, but Pitts gets there with yards. The others don't. C tier. 30 yards in bad matchups. Truly throwing darts to the board. I mean, 25 to 30 if you want to get technical. Really getting desperate. I'm really trying to split straws for you boys. 29 over under, 42 yards per game, 6 targets, 0.2 touchdowns. The Raiders are a tough matchup, though. They only allow 50% of tight ends to do anything. A.J. Barner, 25 over under, 31 yards per game, 4 targets, a score 50% of the time. It's basically exactly the same as Bannon. Noah Fant, 24 over under, 28 yards per game, 0.3 touchdowns. He's honestly kind of been popping off. 30, 40 yards, modest 4 targets. But the matchup against the Patriots is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Jigga Okonkwo, I mean, he's pretty steady, but he never scores. Matchup's okay. 34 yards per game. Kind of been popping off a little bit too, but modest. All right, these guys are set to lose by like 14 points, 14 or 15 points. Now it's D tier. It's the 20s. All right. There's even less hope for these offenses. TJ Hawkinson, 28 yards per game. McCarthy sucks. So does the matchup. David Njoku, 22 over under. 22, 21, then 7 yards per game. Then a quarterback change. Who knows? Raiders aren't even a good matchup, so there's literally nothing good to say. Darnell Washington, he is a giant monster. I should have looked at his stats. I don't remember how big he is. He's a huge monster. Just look up a video of Darnell Washington absolutely decimating fools. Ja'Tavion Sanders, there's a chance, right? 26 yards in his last 2 games, 4 targets. Niners defense are soft. Mason Taylor, there's a chance. Tyrod Taylor, probably going to dot him up, even though they're going to get absolutely destroyed by the Ravens. And finally, it's the rest. It's all that's left. It's less than 20 yards. You don't want Likely, 17 yards per game, 2 targets. Musgrave, 18 over under. Jonnu, 17 over under. Pat Fryermuth, 16 over-under. Darnell Washington's laying wood. Same for Jonnu, right? Brock Wright, 8 yards per game. He's gotten worse with LaPorta's exit. That is your top quarterbacks and your top tight ends for Week 12. Ask me questions down in the comments. Click the playlist for all the rankings. You can check them all out for Week 12. Like and subscribe. Turn on the post notifications so you see all the videos each week before submitting your lineups. It is free, so it is a good value. But if you like to look your best and you like to spend money, use the promo code and spend it in my store. And watch some more videos.